Welcome to another tutorial. In this case, we're going to learn how to make metal bending. This tutorial, even though it's hard for beginners, everyone can do it because I compressed all the content into half an hour. So stay tuned and let's create this effect. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we have to make a box. Grab this box and press P to watch this. Copy the Y position, paste it here, and divide it by 2. Then press this button, shift click, and make it thin and tall. This will be the base of the plates. What you should do now is to copy and transform. We're going to copy and transform based on this position, upwards. And we will do 3 floors at the moment. And check better with these settings. So if we control the height, everything will be equal. I need to do one less. More, there we go. Now we should copy this value on the next copy parameter. This will be equal to 0, but if we go to the x-axis, it will be equal to the width. Made a mistake, to this width. There we go. Now we have a square made of 4 different boxes. This is important. Take a look. So grab a connectivity. This will be the core of our names. We have to have open the spreadsheet. We're going to make a wrangle. I already have the settings. You can just copy and follow. Set names, and you are also going to add a name original equals name. It will come in handy later. Okay, so what's going on is we're going to grab the this has to be on prims. This is a preference. Okay, so what's going on is we're having a number for each of these boxes: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we are appending this with this function at the end. See, piece 8, and well, then we just copy the same name to name orig. Now after we have this, we can make an ISO offset like this. Have 100 of resolution, add some points. We're going to have 1000 points. We're going to make a voronoi fracture. After the voronoi fracture, we're going to see this result. Okay, so we are almost done with the fracture. I just want to have a look on the names, if they are okay. Yes, we press middle mouse click with Control, and with Shift S, we move these lines. Now we have the constraints. We have the constraints null like this. If we can take a look. And they are working perfectly. We need to append this though, like this, and we're also making this button. We're going to make just a dash. Why? Because I want to be more organized. So if we check, we have the original name, we have the name of that comes with that name of that original. Is like each piece. And the class, it still remains. I'm not going to use the class, but I won't delete it either. Okay, so this will be the constraints. So RBD pack, we can already pack these things. So we don't have a proxy because they are basically the same. We don't need to have a proxy in this scenario, but it's always good to have these results or this setup beforehand. And over the unpack, we can have any type of transformation that we please here in this spot. This will be the transform section, and I'm actually going to do the following because I want to have the names correctly here. So if we plug in this, it will be the out proxy. It doesn't matter that we are not going to use the proxy, or we are going to, it is the same, they are the same piece. Out high So we have everything, the height, constraints, and the proxy. But constraints don't have any value yet, so we're going to make them. So if we plug a merge, because we're going to have two different types of constraints, we can, of course, make a wrangle. And with this wrangle, we can go to, I have a setup here, which is a glue. What we're going to add with this glue is to add a sNext constraint name that will be equals to soft. Okay, with this, we are already set up. We have everything that we need, with the wrestling, the strength, and the name, and what happens when it breaks. So let's check. Let's make a Dop Network, and let's hop in. We're going to bring the RBD packed object, and we're going to grab the out high or the proxy. It's the same. It's the same. I'm going to load the high. To connect this, we have the wall. If we grab a rigid body solver and we plug in gravity, you'll see that if we also make a ground for it light, like so, we will have the following simulation. Actually, I forgot to do the assemble right here. Assemble basically makes packed objects, and well, if we don't have packed objects, we're not going to be able to see anything in the simulation. Now it should work. It works perfect. Let's grab in the constraints. Constraints network. We plug this in. We are going to say, okay, let's grab the con because we have constraints. I'm actually going to change this out con to be organized. And let's grab glue constraint relationship. We're going to write this as glue, and this will be named to $ROS. So it's the same as the name of node. Okay, now that we have this, we can see that the constraint loaded. So if we just wait a little bit, everything will fall. Well, it doesn't fall. I don't really care about that because it freezes at low numbers, at low movement numbers. So what we are supposed to do, let's say we want to add some initial velocity just to check how it works. We're going to delete this after. So it moves. Yeah, it moves fine. It falls, and nothing happens because the glue is too strong. We remove the glue, it moves, and you can see it starts shattering. Okay, so it works. It works just fine. But we need more. So we know that if this breaks, it's going to stop for another constraint that is named after a soft constraint relationship. Let's plug this in. With the same $ROS, this will be named as stop. There we go. So if we only watch the display, if we untap the display, you can see that if we add velocity here, let's say 4, it will break, and it should change to soft. I forgot the letter T. Now it should probably work. Let's press play. Here we see it's changing. We need to reduce it. We need to reduce the radius, and let's plug in a color. Okay, so yellow is soft. Yellow is soft, and red is blue. There we go. Okay, so what should we do now? We should alternate between these two. I am going to also generate. Okay, not now, but I am going to plug in a soft solver. Okay, so this is going to be the core of our, or the brain of our simulation. So let's make a wrangle. Let's grab a primitive, and let's say this will be the wrangle of the soft. Let's make let's see, a constraint name equals to glue, so I mean to soft. So everything that is soft will go through this loop. So what we need to do is to make a timer. F timer will be plus and equals to CHF step. This will be the global timer of our simulation. So where is that? Well, it's here. Time step. Go inside and let's paste relative reference, and we should see that each frame that the simulation is a soft constraint, the step will go up. So let's see one thing. Let's write an if clause, so we may have different things. For example, if the timer is more than HF timer threshold, this will happen. What is going to happen? First of all, the constraint name will be equals to glue. The next constraint name will be equals to soft again, soft, and we are going to reset the timer. Timer will be equals to 0. So with this setup, what we should be doing with EHF here, EHF. So with this timer, we can see, okay, let's say we are waiting 1 second. After 1 second, which is a lot, maybe after 0.3 seconds, we should see everything go back in the constraint. So let's have a look. Okay, this doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Because S, and F. Now it works. Okay, always add these values. So it's instantly breaking. Okay, so the simulation was bugged. I just had to go backwards and press on reset simulation. So if we check, you can see that it breaks, moves, but it also goes back almost instantly to a glue. So what we can do is go to options. It's a soft attach. Guys, I made a mistake. It's soft relation, soft attach, soft constraint relationship. This is the problem. Okay. So let's go again, write us, and grab this as soft. There we go. Now it should work just fine. Okay, it moves, it kind of bends, and then it goes back like there. We check the simulation. You can see that it kind of bended a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now that we have this, we can play a little bit with the numbers. Let's say 0.1. So this will just move. Let's go backwards and press reset simulation. And okay, this is working just fine. And now we have some kind of bended metal. This is going to be the base of our bended metal. So it's we go RBD deform pieces, and we say okay, get this name. We can name this as metal. Let's grab metal and plug it in here, and let's output this here. And also we're going to plug in from here onwards. Well, we're seeing some strange things because first of all we need the name. It's going to be based on not name but name original. Okay, and we also have to subdivide, or we have to divide this. If we divide this, we're going to have this result. Let's say a breaker, something like this should actually work. And yeah, this should be just fine. And you can see we have bended metal. Okay, how it bends? Amazing. Okay, we can also play with the radius, make it soft or not so soft, make it more soft, the metal band. Well, this is how you make metal, but now we have to be a little bit more professional about this. So let's grab this and make a connectivity, connect adjacent pieces based on the original. So see, now we have the connections. This will be great when we have this. It's going to be glue constraint and soft glue cluster and soft cluster. We mix them both, we should have something like this. Let's color them both so we can have some different kinds of tonality, so we can differentiate them. And now we have both constraints. So we need to go back into the Dop network. Let's going to add, let's add 2 more constraints. The idea is going to be basically the same. So let's duplicate these 2 and plug them in. This will be like glue C and soft C. So this is going to add some difference. This is red, this is white. So this is going to be yellow, and this is going to be, I know, blue, like blue. So we need to make a new setup here. This is not working yet because fine, but we need the rest length. Don't forget about it, because we need to plug it from here onwards. Now this should actually work if we promote this parameter. There we go. Now we should have everything that we need for the simulation. Yeah, working. So this works and it changes to soft, but now we need to make a different result here. We know this is soft, we know this is soft cluster. This is going to be the solution for the cluster. Basically the same, I'm not going to lie. But we're going to make one more entrance. Length of the force. Force is a parameter when it collides, if that's force, and the length is like the magnitude. So if the force is bigger than the CHF of the break thresh, we're going to just remove trim from 0, trim num 0. We need to make glue C and soft C. Now this is going to go back to glue constraint and then to soft constraint, so it's never going to leave this loop. Let's see this again. Play is not going back to the normal glue, and well, I think I need to lower this threshold. I'm going to make the timer a little bit higher and the threshold to 1 just to see how this works. Okay, let's go back. And see, some of these constraints are breaking. Excellent. So now let's make an emitter and let's get done with this tutorial. We are almost done. So with these points, are the points, we can grab any piece we want. I'm going to make a wrangle. The wrangle is going to say, okay, if the position in the y-axis is less than 0.1, I'm going to set active equals to 0. But first of all, we need to say I at active equals to 1. So everything is 1 unless this happens. So we should see that if we watch the simulation, nothing is falling because it's all holding out from here. Well, let's make an emitter. This is quite easy. So let's grab a box. Right here, well, we have the box. We have the wall also, and we're going to move the box somewhere over here. Make it tall, like so. we don't need much more. And let's ISO offset, and let's stutter just 1 point. You see, it will change upon the frames. And if you want to see, we're going to make so at the $f, if the modulus, probably this is called modulus in English, is of 8 is equals to 0, then we're going to make something. So each 8th frame, we're going to have, as you can see, a 1, 8, 16, etc. So we don't have each frame. And now we're going to make a copy to points where we have this. We're going to make, I use a figure. I'm going to make a box. So this is going to be a box. Let's make it quite smaller, and let's assemble this just to have a name. And we know this is going to be called collider, like so. Okay, we have a collider. This is going to leave it at polygon, and let's see how this works. We have the null. It's going to be out emitter. So shift 8. Okay, so now that we have the emitter, I believe we don't need. Okay, yeah, we need something more. We need to make a wrangle to determine the velocity. So b at b equals to set at 0, maybe 2, and negative 8. Now there we got the velocity. Let's hop in here, and instead of using the constraints, I'm going to use the same but for the geometry. We're going to delete this, we don't need it, and we're going to grab the geometry here, and we're going to merge it with another geometry. It's going to be called object merge of the out emitter. Okay, so once we merge this, now that we merge everything, we make a wrangle on points, and we say that name equals anything that has call, because we call it collider. And we're going to say the following: active will be equal to 1, and mass will be equal to 100. And let's see what happens. Remember, we haven't changed anything yet. Okay, it's breaking as we intended. Maybe it's a little bit too soft in my opinion, but it works just fine. So let's see how it looks. We go here to the RBD deformed pieces. Okay, it's kind of working. Maybe we need a little bit more of resolution. Here, it's taking its time. And here we have a lot more resolution. Now if we play with this radius, you just see this working eventually. This is too destroyed, so let's add some, let's change the glue 1000 stuff. We're going to make it way more stiff. Let's see what happens now. Okay, now we have metal. This is working way better. Okay, we can also change this to, instead of being 0.1, in 0.3. So in 6 frames, I believe, 1, 2, 3. In 6 frames, we should have everything solidified again. Okay, this is working way better. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, looking awesome. There we go. Yeah, I like this so much. So we can also go back here, and no, from here on we just have to play. Let's multiply this mass by 3. So you have a split, and the split should have the name anything call, on points. And let's merge these two. Let's see how it looks. Let's make a flipbook. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind is this workflow is amazing for splitting the edges of metal plates. You see how this is working? This is just amazing. So we can make it even more. We can make it more drastic. Okay, see how this is not spreading so much? We can change this to the following value. If we go to the glue, we add more propagation, let's say 60 propagation iteration. Let's see what happens. See? It propagates everything a lot more. If we see the constraints, you can see that as it impacts, it spreads all over the place a lot and it changes. So if another box collides, it just breaks. Whereas before we had tiny spots. It depends on the result you really want. See? I don't like this effect. I like it the other way around, where we have so many constraint iteration. Let's say 15. Let's see what happens then. Okay. This is amazing. Yeah, this is so cool. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind is, you see this? This is basically the defaults. If we go to 0.1, this is the defaults. If we change the radius to a bigger radius, it will be softer. It will lack, we're having some jittering. So in order to avoid this, we just have to increase the maximum points. Okay, now it's back to normal and it looks really cool. And as a final tip, if you want to have texture, you just have to do an UV unwrap not right there, right here. So it loads, and if we just place after the simulation a quick shade, we should see the UV working just. I hope that you like the video. If you want more tutorials like this, please subscribe, leave a comment, and join our Discord where I am always active. Until next time.